All right, I'm joined by two members of that group that met with Mr. President last week on the show. The National President, Arewa Youth Consultative Forum, Yerima Shetima, and Ann Kubricks, who is an environmentalist and human rights activist. Thank you for joining me on the program. Let me begin with Ann Kubricks. I'm looking at the members of the Patriots delegation that met with Mr. President last week. And they cut across 6 geopolitical zones led by Chief Emeka Nyelku. There is Senator Ben Obi and another chief from the southeast, Labaran Maku, 3 others from the north central. There is Senator Shehu Sani Shetima Yerima, who is on call on this program, and 1 other person from the northwest. And then yourself, Professor Zekome, and Chief Kanu Agabi from the south-south. There are other prominent elder statesmen representing the northeast and the southwest. So perhaps we should begin by understanding who the Patriots are. What do they represent? Are we looking at a political movement?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, please.
I can hardly hear you from my end, and my volume is quite high.
All right. I'm asking who the Patriots are and what the group actually represents.
From your introduction and the names you've reeled out, it's very clear who they are. They cut across, as you have said, as you have informed. That's who we are. We were first headed by Sir Williams, who is now the late son, and then Professor Ben Mwabweze, and now by Chief Emeka, the former chair of the Commonwealth. Now, the names you've reeled out will show very clearly that these are not necessarily politicians, but these are, in their own ways, great Nigerians, and that have contributed immensely to the stability of the country from different areas of Nigeria. And looking at the age group, you will see that it's evolved to the level where people like me are now members. And though, I mean, I have been a member from when they took me on board, and someone like Michael Zokome and people like that, Shehu Sani, the son of the late Tafawa Balewa, was also with us on this trip, and the representation was like three per zone, and so basically that's who we are, the Patriots. And right. What the name represents is that these are people that are genuinely interested in the good of Nigeria. If only we will all agree that Nigeria is a nation that is made up of this coloration of people, different people of different languages, of different culture, of different religion. All right. But we are all Nigerians.
Let me hear from Mr. Shetima, who is the National President, Arewa Youth Consultative Forum. I hear he was also at that meeting. Mr. Shetima, your communication is talking about finding a system of governance that would enable the country to tackle, the serious challenges it's currently facing. What is wrong with the current system of governance?
Thank you. Good evening, viewers, and also thank you for inviting me for this program. Well, the fact of the matter is that some of us have been on the trenches for a very long time, and often we have always been advocating for a system change because the center cannot hold. Some of us have a strong view that with the way it is obvious that we need to totally decentralize the government. And as such, there is no way the center can hold with the way things are done as it is today. Running a governance is very expensive as it is today in this country. And don't forget, what we have in the past years is not what we are facing with today. The challenges of insecurity, how we discover some of our revenues and so on and so forth. Things are not easy anymore. So some of us are of the view that we need to totally decentralize the central government. And to do that, it means we need to look inward to see how the Constitution can be amended. But not only the Constitution to be amended, some of us have our own different views. But I'm one of those who strongly believe that the Constitution as it is today cannot help at all. One. Two, the legitimacy of the very Constitution we're talking about has been challenged for over time. And I'm one of those who believe strongly in 2004, 2005, were one of those, I'm one of those plaintiffs who went to Federal High Court challenging the existence of the 1999 Constitution on the basis of the fact that it lacked legitimacy. What do I mean by legitimacy? I'm a layman, I'm not a lawyer, but I know there's also a difference between a document that's legitimate and also a document that you can call a legal document. There's no doubt about it. The 1999 Constitution is legal document. But the legitimacy is that at no point in 1998 or 1999, when then the military government hold any constitutional conference to arrive at this 1999 Constitution, we are not talking about the perfection of the document. It could be perfect, it can be whatever you can think of. But we are talking about legitimacy. There must be conference that will prompt that and also bring about legitimacy. And that's why some of us have reviewed that. In 2005, when we had a Pronaco conference under leadership of Chief Anthony Naworo and Lights of Politicians, then I was the youth director of that platform. I remember vividly we were talking about the legitimacy. The people argument came from all angles of the country to say that the document is perfect. And we are saying that even if it's perfect, legitimacy, how did we arrive at having this document that is derived from military Decree 24? It was what produced this document. Foisted on Nigerians. And we are saying that we can as well talk to the National Assembly,
all right,
or court, which some of us resort to going to the court, but also there is also an opening that, of course, the National Assembly can come together and amend the Constitution, create room for referendum, even if we insist we must use the 1999 Constitution, which some of us differ.
Which appears, Mr. Shettima, which appears to be ongoing. Which appears to be ongoing. The 10th National Assembly has also, kick-started.
Let us get out of that. It's not the duty of the National Assembly to make constitution for the country.
All right.
There is a difference between making law and re-engineering of a new constitution.
Hold that thought for a minute. Hold that thought for a minute, Mr. Shettima. We're due for a break and we'll be back with more right after this. Stay with us, everyone. National President, Arewa Youth Consultative Forum, Yerima Shettima, and Ankyo Briggs, who is environmentalist and human rights activist. For instance, the role of the National Assembly, the currently elected National Assembly, in all of this. Are they going to be involved, or you're suggesting that they should be replaced in this process?
Absolutely not. If you don't have a copy, if the media doesn't have a copy of what was presented to the president, that would be a shame, because what the Patriots said to him was that he should send a bill, excuse me, that he should send a presidential bill to the National Assembly. And so the National Assembly is not going to be cut out of this system, because the National Assembly is supposed to be the people's representatives. And so if the people are calling for a new constitution, and I think that it's important we make it very clear that we didn't say, the Patriots did not say we should amend the constitution. They actually said that this present constitution is not a legal constitution, and that the people need to sit down and come up with a legal constitution. The National Assembly is not left out of it. We have asked the president to involve the National Assembly by sending a bill to them. So they are already involved as far as we are concerned, right from the beginning, because we're asking for representation of the 36 states, of the ethnic nationalities within those 36 states, including the Federal Capital.
I hear you clearly, Ms. Briggs, but there's an ongoing constitutional review by this National Assembly that also incorporates the houses of assembly from the 36 states. You don't think it legitimizes the document?
Well, first of all, I think that we are involving the states and we are involving the National Assembly. So the lawmakers at each level will be involved. It's about the people of Nigeria, not necessarily about the lawmakers of Nigeria. But we have elected the lawmakers of Nigeria. And so we are expecting that they will work with us to achieve this. For instance, if you recall, the president had said that the patriots are a group of people that he cannot ignore. That's one. Two, he has also said that his priority is to, if you like, rejig the economy of Nigeria. And our call is really for governance to change, for the people to come up with their own constitution, so that the style of governance changes. And I believe, and we believe, that if we're able to achieve this, when we're able to achieve this, and we hope it's going to be quick, then all of these problems we have today in Nigeria will begin to take care of themselves, because the right things will be done and people will be accountable.
I hear you.
Right now, yes, right now we have a constitution that allows, if you like, people are complaining about INEC, for instance. There's a lot of complaints about INEC. And so if we change our constitution and we all sit down and have an input, we will have an input that will give us a better electoral commission that will be responsible to the people and not to politicians. Right now, we have an INEC that is responsible not to the people that come out to vote, but to the people that we come out to vote for. And that's not the way it ought to be. The way it ought to be is that our votes should count. Right now, we have an INEC that does not guarantee that our votes count. So, I mean, I'm just using that. Just one example.
We can't possibly explore all of the details. We're just trying to get the meat out of the conversation you had with Mr. President. Mr. Shettima, please let me bring you in here. You have also suggested that it's important that the federal government finds a systemic way of effectively engaging with protest leaders in the aftermath of the protest we've seen in many parts of the state in the past week. I wanted to precisely address what we saw in some parts of the north, where the protest became violent. There were some erroneous call for the military to take over. We saw the brandishing of foreign flags. You heard the DSS right when it says, when it warned prior to this exercise, that some unscrupulous elements were going to hijack the process. What's the clear roadmap for government moving forward? How do you identify and engage legitimate protest leaders, and precisely what do you think happened in the north?
Well, what happened in the north, let me look at the issue in two perspectives. One is that what happened in the north is an issue that for over time, we've known that one day like this, things will turn the way it happens, because don't forget that we have mass people who are roaming on the streets, doing nothing in other part of this country. The issue of poverty is not new to us in that part of the country. Some of us felt to an extent that all of this govern from one government or another. Some of our leaders, political leaders, have not done enough to carry our people along. Some of us do not, since the coming of this democracy in the last 20-something years, we have not felt the positive impact of this democracy for over time. Don't forget, we have large number of youth roaming the streets in other part of the country, and as a result of that, some of them, out of frustration, we knew if certain things are brought down by introducing anything called protest, especially at this critical time. At this critical time, we knew definitely nothing good will come out of it. And some of us from the initial stage, we try as much as we can to discourage people from coming out on the protest. We say, look, there are better ways you can bring anger and other things by reaching out to the government. And we will talk. But then some people felt, no, we have compromised our position as one of our. And then they came to vote today. What was the result was exactly what we preempted. This is just one aspect of it. Two, why I say they need to engage the leaders of the protest, if there is any, because I've not seen one who takes responsibility to say, look, I am the sole owner of this whole process. We have not seen one. And if there's any that have worked, I can recognize and remember to the best of my ability. But well, if there is any, let them come forward and tell the government what they want. But of course, it's not need to the government. The government knew things are not okay. And this is not a problem that you can directly on this present administration. This present administration inherited the problem. Some of us foresee this coming in the last 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari administration. I will tell you that this government is not doing enough. I'm thinking that we are just opposition. And until this government came up and inherited the problem. And this is where we find ourselves today. But however, the fact of the matter is that I do not think violence is an answer to the whole issue. We need to sit down around people to discuss because what affects one affects everybody, directly or indirectly.
We have completely
down to reflect.
Yes, we have completely run out of time. We have to go now. But Ms. Briggs, if you can in 30 seconds, did you think the president heard you? Are you optimistic that he's going to respond in the favor of your recommendations?
I hope so. I believe so. And definitely he heard us because we believe that the president, being part of the NADECO process and having claimed over and over again, and rightfully so, that he was part of that process and he lived to tell his story. I believe that he heard us, and I believe that he will do something, and it won't be too long. I hope so.
Environmentalist,
because we won't let go.
Human rights activist, Ann Briggs, National President, Arewa Youth Consultative Forum, Yerima Shettima. Thank you so much both for joining us on the program this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's our show today. If you missed